Okay, today in class, you will be watching this video in order to fill in a foldable, which you should have already glued into your notebook. When you're done, you're going to do the circumference of a circle math libs. The circumference of a circle math libs is in Google Classroom. You have an answer sheet for it, and you are going to fill in the answer sheet by showing all of your work, and then on the back, filling in a comical phrase. Make sure you also do Builder 17. It's due tomorrow, and finish any missing assignments if you would like to retake the test. Today in class, our I can statement is I can identify the parts of the circle and I can find the circumference of a circle. Okay, the first thing we're going to talk about is parts of a circle. So there are 4 different parts of a circle: the radius, the diameter, the chord, and a circumference. Pause the video if you need to copy. So radius is the distance from the center of a circle to a point on the outside of the circle. So that line right there is the radius. Notice how it goes to the center of the circle and all the way to the outside. The next is the diameter. The diameter is the distance from one point on the circle to another point on the circle through the center. So this one's going to go all the way across the circle through the middle. That is the diameter. Notice that the radius is half as big as the diameter, because we're going to talk about next how to find one or the other. Next is the chord. It's the distance from one point on the circle to another point on the circle. Does not have to go through the center. The diameter is actually a special kind of chord. And lastly, the circumference is the distance around the circle. Okay, when later in the video, we'll talk about how to find the circumference. So if you need to pause the video, do that now in order to write down all the different definitions. So notice circumference goes all the way around. And it's also measured in units because it's a distance. So inches, feet, yards. The next, we're going to talk about how to find the diameter or the radius, because it's very important to know how to get one or the other. The first is the radius. So what is the radius of a circle that is a diameter of 15 centimeters? So we talked about a few minutes ago how the diameter is double the radius. So if we divide the diameter by 2, it's going to give us the radius. So in this part, we would take 15 divided by 2, which is 7.5. The next one is what is the diameter of a circle with a radius of 6.25? Write your answer as a fraction in simplest form. So in order to do this, we're going to realize that the diameter is double of the radius. So if we take the radius and multiply it by 2, it's going to give us the diameter. So the formula is diameter equals radius times 2. So it's 6.25 times 2, or 12.5, which as a fraction is 12.5. The next one you're going to try on your own. It's what is the radius of a circle with a diameter of 8 1/4. Write your answer as a decimal. So you should have gotten radius equals diameter divided by 2, because the radius is half the diameter. So do 8 1/4 divided by 2, which is 4 1/8, or 4.125, because it asked for your answer as a decimal. The last one you're also going to try on your own. What is the diameter of a circle with the radius of 5 2/3? Write your answer as a decimal. So to do this, we do a diameter is equal to radius times 2. 5 2/3 times 2 is 11 1/3, or 11.3 repeating. And don't forget the bar above the 3. So next, we're going to talk about how to find circumference, that distance around the circle. There's 2 formulas we can use. One if we have the diameter, one if we have the radius. But if you're given the radius, you can always get the diameter and then use the one formula, so you don't have to memorize 2. So if we're given the diameter, the formula is circumference equals pi times diameter, and we're going to use 3.14 for pi, not our calculator key, 3.14. So if we have a circle with a diameter of 12, we're going to do circumference equals pi times diameter. So 3.14 times 12. we put in our calculator, we'll get 37.68 centimeters. The next one, you're going to try on your own. Find the circumference of a CD with an approximate diameter of 5.2. So when you do this, make sure to show your formula. Always write it down. So circumference is equal to pi times diameter. So then we plug in our values. Circumference equals 3.14 times 5.2. And then we get circumference equals 16.328 centimeters. So if you didn't get that, make sure to fix your foldable. The next one, if we have the radius, there's a formula that we can use. So if we have the circumference equals 2 times pi times radius, because radius is double to get diameter, so we multiply the whole thing by 2. So if we have a circle that has a radius of 4 centimeters, we would use our formula, circumference equals 2 times pi times radius. So we'd plug in circumference equals 2 times 3.14 times 4, and then put in our calculator and get circumference equals 25.12 centimeters. Now this one, try on your own. Find the circumference of a circular fountain with a radius of 5 feet. So plug our formula in, circumference equals 2 times pi times radius. Plug in our values, 2 times 3.14 times 5, and then get an answer of circumference equals 31.4 feet. So when you guys are doing this, that's exactly how I want to see your work. Okay, the next part of this, we know the circumference, but we want to find the diameter or the radius. So the first one, we're looking for the diameter. So we use the formula, circumference equals pi times diameter, and we work backwards through that formula. So if we take the circumference and divide it by pi, it's going to automatically give us the diameter. So if the circumference is 15.7 inches, what's the diameter? We would take 15.7 divided by pi, 15.7 divided by 3.14, and we get 5 inches. So the next one, you guys are going to try on your own. The distance around the wheel of a bicycle is approximately 31.4 inches. What is the diameter? So you're going to take 31.4 and divide it by pi. We're going to take 31.4 and divide it by 3.14, which is what we use for pi, and get 10 inches. So you're just doing the opposite. Instead of multiplying, we're dividing. So using circumference to find the radius. So this time, instead of just dividing by 3.14, we also have to divide by 2 because we're looking for the radius, and that'll just give us the diameter. So there's an error in this first one, so it's going to fix it within the video. So the first thing you're going to do is not 87.66, but you're going to use 37.68, divide it by pi, and then divide it by 2. And then you're going to do 37.68 divided by 3.14 divided by 2. And then in a moment, the correct answer will be typed in. So if we do 37.68 divided by 3.14 and then divide it by 2, we actually get an answer of 6 inches. So that's how you find the radius if you're given the circumference. So this next one, you're going to try on your own. It says the distance that a Ferris wheel travels in one revolution is 98.91 feet. What is the radius of the ride? So try this one on your own. So you should have done 98.91 divided by pi and then divided by 2. So 98.91 divided by 3.14 divided by 2 is going to give us 15.75 feet. So make sure that your foldable is correct because I expect you to use it to answer these questions.